Oh Lord, this does not seem good, folks. That velocity scan is so intense that it's even glitching out. Luckily, this is over open land, but this is rapidly progressing to the Wichita Metro. Storm motion is about 60 miles per hour, meaning that this storm will likely start to enter the metro in about 10 minutes.
It is also important to note that given the strong inflow, strong nocturnal low-level jet, this tornado could potentially become very long-tracked and very intense, given the strong wind shear and instability in the environment that this storm would work with for a long period of time. We can only hope the storm decides to randomly choke itself, but this is not one of those situations where this will be a short-lived, intense tornado. No, this has a fair chance at being a long-tracked, violent tornado that goes into the metro area. We can't stress this enough, folks. Please take this storm seriously.
So with that being said, those in Wichita, you're going to want to go ahead and start taking those tornado precautions now. The National Weather Service in Wichita is calling this a particularly dangerous situation, emphasizing that you want to go ahead and be in a basement or the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows. Put as much space between you and the tornado as possible. If anyone watching knows anyone in Wichita, go ahead and give them a call. Make sure they're awake because it's nighttime and people are most likely asleep.
Also, Nick, not sure if you've seen this already, but this is a picture of that tornado just north of Viola a couple of minutes ago.
Wow, that is massive. I wouldn't be surprised if that thing is over a mile. The National Weather Service has also gone ahead and issued a tornado emergency for the city of Wichita.
Okay, a tornado emergency is now in effect for the Wichita metro area, including just about most of the city. Again, folks, this is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening.
The tornado emergency for the city of Wichita. A tornado warning remains in effect until 11:30 p.m. for eastern Sedgwick County. At 10:50 p.m. Central Time, a confirmed large, violent, and extremely dangerous tornado was located just north of Viola, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. This tornado is progressing along Highway 42 and will likely enter the Wichita metropolitan area in the next 10 minutes. This is a tornado emergency for the city of Wichita. This is a life-threatening situation. You could be killed if not underground or in a tornado shelter. Complete destruction of entire neighborhoods, businesses, and vehicles are likely. Locations impacted include Wichita, Park City, Bel Air, Furley, Valley Center. This tornado will be over Wichita at 11 or 11:05 p.m. Repeating, a large, violent, and deadly tornado is on the ground. Take shelter in a basement or lowest floor in an interior room immediately.
Apologies for the interruption, but that was the tornado emergency wording that was just broadcasting live by the National Weather Service in Wichita. If you weren't listening, the wording basically states that there is a violent and deadly tornado on the ground, rapidly progressing into the Wichita area, which will likely be in the city in around the next 5 to 10 minutes. This is your last chance, folks. Seek shelter now. Do not wait until the tornado approaches your neighborhood or until you see or hear the tornado. This tornado is approaching portions of southwest Wichita now, which is basically right along Highway 42 where the tornado is currently riding on. Those just west of Highway 42 need to be in their tornado safety place now.
It does seem like the tornado has weakened a bit, although that does not mean it is any less strong than it was before. The rotational velocity is still above 80 knots, which is still very intense, and that debris ball has gotten a lot bigger, and unfortunately it seems to have gone over a small neighborhood just now. So those in Wichita, those on the southwest side of Wichita, you definitely need to be in that tornado shelter as this tornado approaches that area.
Storm spotters Centers are still reporting that a large tornado is on the ground, so nowhere near a weakening trend, although they do indicate the width has gotten smaller. The velocity couplet looks more well-defined now and not as glitchy, so the core is probably smaller but still intense. The tornado has now crossed Highway 42 and is approaching the southwest portions of the city. Again, the forward speed is around 55 to maybe even 70 miles per hour, so this tornado is going to quickly approach, then quickly move out. Let's start clearing some areas that are in the polygon. Those in Clearwater, you are in the clear. Viola, you as well. The main area under the gun as of now seems to be Wichita.
We're going to head over to our storm spotter, David, who has had visual on the tornado for quite some time now. David, are you there?
Yes, Nick. Kind of hard to see the tornado now given all the rain and how dark it is, but just a couple of minutes ago, there was a very large tornado, possibly over a mile, and the roar was very intense, sounded like I was next to a train. Now it's cross.
All right. Thank you, David. Might have just cut off there, but I'd imagine the cell service is terrible. So, again, there is still a strong tornado on the ground just southwest of the Wichita Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport, and that's about to enter the Wichita area. Thankfully, the tornado has started to go on a slow, weakening trend, but this is still a very dangerous and strong tornado. Those in downtown Wichita, this tornado should hit the area in about less than 5 minutes. Again, please be in shelter. Do not be outdoors, in a mobile home, in a vehicle, or near any sort of windows. We're going to stay on broadcast as long as we can in case the power goes out or we need to evacuate.
The National Weather Service has downgraded that tornado emergency into a PDS, meaning that the severity of this tornado has went from catastrophic to considerable. So the tornado has started to weaken, thankfully, but they're still saying that a large and extremely dangerous tornado remains on the ground. Not sure what's causing this storm to weaken all of a sudden. Maybe the environment is starting to get less impressive, but that is definitely great for those in downtown Wichita. But still, remain in those tornado safety places, as a tornado is still likely to roll through the city. There is still a very big debris ball, meaning that this tornado is lofting tons of things into the air. We're just not seeing any indications of violent intensity, but still a very significant tornado on the ground. As of right now, the tornado looks to be just over or really close to the airport and about to cross Interstate 235, entering the city. We've been saying this for over 10 minutes now, that everyone in downtown Wichita, whatever you're doing, needs to seek shelter in a sturdy building, away from windows. There should absolutely be nobody on the road. There should absolutely be nobody outside. The tornado looks to be over the southwest portion of Wichita as we speak. It could be occluding as the rotation gets weaker and the debris ball expands its shape and weakens. We are going to remain on the air as this storm doesn't pose a threat to our area. However, those in Wichita remain in shelter. You are not in the clear yet. This storm could still strengthen again, and strong inflow winds are going to cause some wind damage.
It's great that this tornado isn't as strong as it was before it approached the metro. If that tornado maintained itself with how it looked north of Viola, we could have been dealing with a mass casualty situation. So it's great that the tornado is starting to weaken just as it enters the city.
Indeed. And just a reminder, always to be weather aware. Even though we're getting lucky today, there may not be another time we will. So despite this storm abruptly weakening, just imagine if it remained in shape like how it did around 10 minutes ago.
Indeed, quite the close call.